As a small boy, I was always intrigued with the moors. When I came across a magazine that had pictures of the moor, I was always fascinated because it looked like another planet or the moon. This is the Valley of the Rocks. It's quite a mystical place. I first came to Exmoor when I had a camper van ages ago. I made a platform on the roof so that I could put a telescope up there. And I used to go UFO spotting. And in November, the skies are extraordinary, the night skies. They're so rich with stars and heavens. The reason I moved here in the first place is because it is so desolate. Oh, it's invigorating. It's so quiet. A wonderful place to contemplate and meditate.
Mum would shout and scream when Dad would come home drunk. When she'd asked him where he'd been, he said, up the Clissold Arms, chatting up some Aussie, but he didn't mean no harm. Oh, full screen memories of days when I was young. Oh, it could only be a memory, a time that now has gone.
Our family was really a matriarchal system family because my mum was the boss. I had loads of aunties. My big gran, as we used to call her, my mum's mum, had 21 kids. And she actually looked a little bit like Queen Victoria. She would have come from that period. There was 8 of us. I was the youngest. There were 6 sisters. My mum would spend all day delegating. You do that, that's your job, you do this. My dad was like the hunter, if you like, going out to provide for his family. We weren't very well off financially as kids, and I think that helped us. It helped me gravitate towards things that were more important, like family and the support that you get from family. As a kid, I was always seeking for fun. I used to get bored if people would get serious. And I was quite a wild kid. My mum was constantly chasing me with a broomstick. I was a mischievous kid, but it was seeking. I was looking for things. I absolutely love it up here on the moor. Early in the morning, about this time, when you walk across the moor on your own and find a place that feels right, sit and just reflect on things. I loved those old Sherlock Holmes films, especially The Hounds of the Baskervilles. There is actually a legend about the Exmoor beast, which supposedly roamed this whole train out into the inner part of Exmoor, and it was cited as a Black Panther. I never really found evidence. I like to think that it still roams the hills. I was a sort of kid that was fascinated by things that were unusual. There was a TV show on when we were kids, the first of the Quatermass. And when you watched it behind a pillow or behind a settee, you know, trying to not see it, but you had to watch it. And there was a thing on the wireless called Journey into Space. My mum often used to finish a cup of tea and turn the teacup back and there'd be all the tea leaves, and she'd sit there and read, "Oh, there's a man in a long black cape." It was quite a normal thing to see my mum and sister sit around a Ouija board and put fingers on the glass. And us kids would be hiding behind the door thinking, what the hell are they doing? I can remember the first day I went to school when I was 5. My mum dragged me screaming up the road, stuck me in this room, these other poor kids. The teacher made me stack up these bricks. After about half an hour, I got so fed up, I knocked them down and I left school. And I came home and Mum said, "David, what are you doing?" I've been to school and I don't like it. And I thought that was it. And one day, the teacher was blabbering on about God and this, that and the other.
And after God had made the trees and the flowers, he made animals to go deep down inside the earth, didn't he? Ants and worms.
I put my hand up and I said, "Please, miss, if God made everything, who made God, right?" "Oh, sit down, Davis." And I was like, well, hang on. It made me feel stupid because I thought I said something wrong. But afterwards I realised it was quite an important thing to say.
So great, young and innocent.
I wasn't content with things as they were. I didn't trust teachers because I always felt I was being taught down to. I didn't like that. Because at home, everybody seemed like we were all getting on together and it all kind of worked in a very natural and organic way. The front room at Denmark Terrace was really the party room, and it had that funny old upright piano. Typical Saturday night at Davies in Denmark Terrace was always lots of music, lots of laughter, lots of faces. When I think back at that age, I always think of the Fellini films. Leering down at you, these big faces with teeth and noses and great noses and character faces, laughter and loud and singing and drunk. And it was like as a little kid, just sort of letting, sitting there, soaking it all up.
And my old man said follow the van and don't dilly-dally on the way. Off went the car with me.
My mum would have a few drinks and she'd start singing the songs that affected her, you know. And whenever my mum sang, I always just go quiet because I could sense a lot of her inner pain. People from that generation that went through 2 wars, you didn't even say, "Oh, I love you," like today, everybody's kissy-kissy. In those days, they kept all their feelings to themselves. And like the party was a way of letting it go. Silly.
Saint Teresa of the Roses.
When my mum used to sing, I used to really listen. So much pain in them. Like she was someone totally different. Her persona was totally different from when, like, every day, oh, come on, David, it's time for school. Totally different person. So that intrigued me. I learned about love and affection from my sisters. I think that was important to my growth and to Ray's, I think. That helped nurture the creative stuff going on inside us. Guys get together going up the pub. You didn't talk about things like love and like beauty. Not in those sort of fairly harsh working class families. We obviously saw a lot growing up, you know, what women are like when they go, shouldn't say that, cut. That female competition for guys and, you know, trying to make yourself look nicer than the other one.
Sisters in the doorway, snogging with her bloke. Scared to put the cat out in case I put him off his stroke. But she wouldn't be denied. I got a shilling as a bribe.
I was 11, my sister Renee died, and it was like a trigger. It really upset me profoundly. They just have a body and they put it in a box and throw it in the ground. I thought that it can't be, there must be more to life than just up in the ground in the box. I'm gonna walk right across the moor to the sea, and then I'm gonna swim all the way over to Wales.
Big sky looked down on all the people looking up at the big sky. Everybody's pushing one another around.
That lilac and pink, blue and grey sky. Isn't that amazing or what? Me and Rose kids became close with football because that was a very intuitive thing. It's almost like telepathic thing. Like, I'd play on the left side of the field, he'd play on the right, and we kind of knew. You could see the picture of the game, where it was going and who was going to be where. And music, even more so, because we kind of both knew what the other was going to do. So many times that we'd get together just jamming around and that. In late years, like 13 and 14, I had a friend called George at school who was into guitar playing. His dad died, his mum used to have to work, so all day long, after 9 o'clock, his house was empty. So I'd get ready for school and tie on everything and pretend to walk to school. I'd just go to George's house and we'd sit there all day playing guitar and listening to whatever we could get hold of. Blues was a really big thing. There was something in blues music that resonated with us as working class kids. Like, it had an oppression in the music. It was screaming to get out.
Take this hammer and carry it to the captain.
Lead Belly was singing about how he couldn't get a job and you had to be of a certain colour and a certain type of person to get a job somewhere, railway or on the buses or whatever. And we could see that happening with people in our uncles and people in our own family.
He's looking for a home.
When Ray and I were learning guitar, our styles developed differently because Ray had few guitar lessons. I never had guitar lessons. Ray's first guitar was a Spanish guitar.
Do you have a rather common habit of leaning too much to the left?
And he learned how to fingerpick properly. far too fussy for my taste. You know. I was really into like the rock and blues stuff, like Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly, Burt Whedon. I was never that good at copying, so if I was trying to play Walk Don't Run, it would kind of sound like it, but a few notes, notes on. But I thought, oh shit, I'll just do what I want instead. You know, I learnt 5 chords. I thought, that's it, right? Mastered that. Ray and I's first public gig was in a pub. It was opposite our house, the Clissold Arms. Me and Ray got up and played Walk Don't Run, Apache. That vibe you get with an audience, I think that's the thing when you realise there's something going on here. Well, the Kinks really started, from school, when we first got together with Pete Quaife. Pete was really important to our musical growth, I think, because he was kind of like in the middle of me and Ray all the time.
You could feel that there was this little bit of animosity, going on. Ray going, I'm going to be better than you, and Dave going, I'm going to be better than you.
Pete was a great eccentric. Everything was larger than life, and everything was over the top. He spent half his life lying. It was like exaggeration. If it's not interesting enough, make it up, sort of guy. I loved it. I didn't realise until Pete died what an incredible bond the 3 of us had, me, Ray and Pete, before we were even the Kinks. I didn't know Ray that well in a way because he had a lot of problems and he was quiet and withdrawn. I just thought that's the way he is and that's all right. When you're brought up in a big family, everybody's different anyway. And he went to art school. I was more into the jazz clubs and the clubs and the social scene rather than into art. What put me off art at school is that I had this horrible art teacher. I was just, as you do, just messing around. And she laughed at my painting. I thought, fuck it, I ain't gonna do it. I refused to do art anymore. The big thing for us was the El Toro coffee bar in Muswell Hill, Broadway, where all the kids used to hang out. My first Purple Hearts came from there. I got expelled from school. I was about just 15, I think, because I was caught in the woods with my girlfriend with my trousers down.
Let me tell you, baby, it's called rock and roll.
I'm lying in bed 3 weeks thinking this is great. And then my mum says, come on, you've got to go and look for a job. I eventually got a job at Soundwoods Music in Leicester Square where they fixed woodwind and saxophones. I learned a lot about how little musicians take care of their instruments. So we had a clarinet in one day and it was filthy, stunk. And all the pads were rotting and everything. I said, oh, it's Ackerbilt's clarinet. Pete Quaife was working at a place called The Outfitter in Charing Cross. The Outfitter was a fashion mag, and Pete was really into graphic art. He was a really good artist, cartoonist, as well as a great musician.
Have I the right to hold you? You know I've always told you.
Me and Pete became really close. We would meet at lunchtime or after work and go and seek out all the clothes shops in Kingsley Street and Carnaby Street, and way before it became Carnaby Street.
I just can't bear it. I got some love and I long to share it. Come right back, I'll show my love is strong. Oh yeah.
The fashion thing for me was very much like, if older people didn't approve, we must be doing something right.
She looks familiar, doesn't she?
You know, walk down that road with a slightly long hair was frowned upon. You know. I'd go to a clothes shop and just get the silliest hat I could find and just stick it on my head and just, you know.
No, that's not the hat. That's a device for measuring the exact conformation of the head.
Everybody's going for those kinky boots, kinky boots.
Kinky boots, it's a man.
Women's fashions were a lot more interesting than men's.
Undercarriage up.
And you rush to obey like the women in the day.
Beverly, meanwhile, is in landing strip.
I really liked the clothes that my girlfriends wore, and I used to try them on. PVC, I thought it was really interesting, and leather. And then Nella and David made me a pair of thigh-length boots.
Leather is so kinky.
Come and get those kinky boots, boots, kinky boots.
The way I was, the music and the girls and the self-expression and the clothes were all kind of interwoven, like all a part of the same adventure. Because I was young, I couldn't get into the clubs. They used to always let me in the back door, and there was a scene, the Piccadilly Club and Studio 51. I went there one night and the Stones were playing.
I wanna love you night and day. Oh, you know my love and I fade away.
Amazing. That was one of those moments. Yeah, moments.
I believe you.
Me and Pete carried on playing together while Ray was away at art school. But of course we had a problem when Ray came back into the fold, as it were. We realised if we were going to make a band, we needed a singer. None of us really knew much about singing. I always thought Ray should sing because he could kind of mimic Buddy Holly quite good. We all liked Buddy. As fate had it, we met two upper-class guys. One was a stockbroker, Granville, and the other one, Robert Ways. I don't know if he came from an aristocratic family or whether he faked it. They were about 7'2" and still. They were rather sort of debonair and sort of upper class, and I remember Robert going to a restaurant, ordering food, and deliberately leaving half the food, because that's what he did. He didn't eat all the food, whereas we'd go and eat everything on the plate. That was the way things were in our house. If you didn't eat the food quick, someone else would have it. Granville was looking for a band that could back up Robert, because Robert fancied himself as a highfalutin singer to impress all the debutantes and all his posh party friends.
The changing of the guard, we made our sacrifices. We haven't got a butler or a maid.
So we did a gig at the Grocers' Hall. Robert was singing, us like the Ravens playing. We were doing a song called Rave On. Robert was going, Rave on, tell me. You know, it's really immaculate Savile suit. And halfway through the song, he hit the mic with his two front teeth, and he broke one of his teeth. And he runs off stage, and we're still jamming away. And we thought, well, someone's got to sing. And I'm sort of going like this to Ray, right? So Ray goes up to the mic and starts singing Rave On. And it seemed so natural. The band was born out of that, from that funny gig. And Robert and Grenfell decided to be our managers. We thought, oh, this is great, you know. Maybe we're going to hit big time. One little baby went around. So you got a bunch of kids playing instruments, wanting to conquer the world. We didn't know what we were doing. We took on 2 managers that didn't know what they were doing either, so it's a recipe for either greatness or disaster. Just kids struggling, you know, struggling for identity, trying to do something they wanted to do but didn't quite know what it was.
I found the Kinks by accident. I was going to a Chinese restaurant on New Year's Eve and I saw all sorts of people coming in, long-haired boys, amplifiers moving in, and then all of a sudden out came the music. It was a group known as the Ravens, a little while later known as the Kinks. And from then on, you know, I couldn't wait to get my hands on the Kinks.
We got to deal with Pie Records. Ray and I were so excited because we were going to be on the same label as the Searchers. Sweet from my sweet, sugar from my your best kiss thrills me so. We were recording in the same studio, so we thought maybe we should do a couple of tunes like the Searchers. One of our early singles, Before You Really Got Me, was called You Still Want Me. So if you play it, you can imagine the Searchers in there somewhere.
And you still want me, and you still want me. I know.
But it flopped, and we had a couple of records and they flopped. And
the wind is blowing cold across the moor.
At that time, like 63, all the amps had more like clean, chingy noise to them, like Ventures and the Shadows. They were good, but I was looking for something that had a bit more balls and bite to it, and a more expressive sort of aggressive sound. I was always messing around with stuff. I found this amp in a store up the road from where we lived. It's about that big, I think, about that big. A little green amp called an El Pico. I plugged it in and messed around with it. It's too weedy. It was like, same old, ching, ching, ching. I got so fed up with it, I got a razor blade, a single-sided Gillette. Got hold of the back of the amp and I sliced the cone all the way round, so that the cone remained intact. I didn't think for a minute it was going to work, but I plugged it in. I didn't know anything about electricity, and I did get a terrible shock, and it just did throw me across the room. And like Mum came up from the kitchen, "What are you doing?" So this sound I developed was like an emotional platform for me. It felt like me. It was like an extension of my own inner rage. You Really Got Me was really born in the front room in Denmark Terrace. Ray one day came in and started playing this on the piano. That lovely old upright piano we had, which had all the beer over it from all the parties and all the piss-ups. It was always just perfectly out of tune. And that was another key moment, I think, when I played it on my guitar. And that was it. It was like climbing Everest. The moment of clarity. Before, you felt insecure, and then the event happens and you feel whole again. I've been looking for that wholeness all my life, whether it's in music or in relationships or in the universe or inside or, where is it? These cliffs, they're about 1,100 feet, and they're the highest cliffs in Britain. And in Victorian times, if you wanted to get rid of your missus, you could bring her here on holiday and push them off the cliff. Okay, darling, want to come for a little walk along the coast path? Throughout the Kinks' career, I don't think people knew what to do with the Kinks.
One lump or two.
We went in to record You Really Got Me, and it sounded horrendous. And I think Ray was furious. I mean, we were all furious, the fact that it was sounding so horrible. Girl, you really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. And we wanted to re-record it. 3 amps, 3 guitars and drum kit set up in the room. That's what we wanted it to sound like. So Robert paid 200 quid for a session. They allocated 2 hours in the studio, that was it. Forget it, next. Next. The problems I had trying to record my guitar sound. The engineers would say, you can't record that. Noise. If it hadn't been for Robert and Ray being pissed off, it might not have got made.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
The first time that I heard it on the radio, I was in Greek Street, and I suddenly realised this is something really special. I think we lucked out a bit, timing-wise. I think it was just the perfect time for music to turn a different corner. You really got me, it was very sexual sound. My first girlfriend was really jealous of my guitar, so I used to take it to bed with me. Just, make sure it was okay. A lot of young guitarists ask me questions about technique, which I know virtually nothing about. At that age, 15, 16, it would have been just pure rage or anger or what the hell, or panic, or all those things. And it's all over with. It's only 8 bars. So, only a crazy kid would play a solo like that, not a well-honed session man. I mean, it's just pure. I think the big thing about the Kinks is that we thought we were playing R&B. We were playing something nobody heard of before. It was also energy-driven.
He doesn't sit back and think about anything, it's just like, it just goes into it. And that's the way he played guitar.
I need you more than birds in the sky.
It's wonderful to get that sort of acclaim and attention, but there was an awful lot of jealousy towards the Kinks, or to me and Ray, like two scruffy kids. How dare they write music? How dare they have success?
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in the programme, my pleasure to present the awards to the Kinks for the runner-up position in the Best New Group section.
Funnily enough, Rolling Stones won the Best Newcomer Award 2 years running. For some reason, they just did not want to give it to the Kinks. It was always a thing in the background that the Kinks didn't deserve it. You know, guitarists can't string 5 chords together. They were never in the club. We were outsiders because of a lot of things. That we wouldn't play the game. You can join this club, but there's rules, and we never did that. I thought that red hunting jackets were a bit of a silly idea at first, until I put one on. I thought, hey, cool. It didn't feel like a uniform, it felt like a statement, or, wow, makes me feel good. Maybe it ain't such a bad idea. Robert was wonderful at that, really. And Gravely, because they came from sort of background and really would go riding in Hyde Park. It's quite common, it's what you do. '60s girls often had long hair with a part in the middle like that. And I used to copy my girlfriends.
Dandy, Dandy, where you gonna go now? Who you gonna run to?
I thought it was much more elegant to part the hair in the middle.
You're chasing all the girls, they can't resist your smile.
One particular girlfriend I had fairly long hair, but she used to backcomb it, so it sort of come up like a little dome. And I kind of did my hair like that. I never really took it all that seriously, because I wanted to, you know, explore and express myself and have a good time.
There was like a little clique of these guys. There was Brian Jones, Keith Moon, Dave Davies. Watch out when this lot got together. I mean, it was really, wow, very wild. If they thought of anything, they'd do it. They wouldn't consider any kind of consequences at all, so it would be quite wild, quite wild.
You have to remember there were an awful lot of chicks to fuck at time. Oh, sorry. Hang on, I'll do it again. I was 15, we had all the sudden limelight and TV and earning money and excitement. And I just went with it. I was well up for it. The girls, that was all over the place, and I could do what I liked. I was a young man who was very virile, and I liked sex. The world at my feet. The world at my feet. I had a close relationship with a guy called Michael Aldridge, who was one of the comperes or ready to go. Me and Michael had a really great time, because he had a wonderful sense of humour, and he looked a bit like a young Dirk Bogarde. So I thought he looked really cool, and he thought I looked really cool. So we became, you know, close friends. But I found after a while, Michael was taking our relationship quite seriously. And that's when I saw the other side of it, and I thought, shit, I can't take advantage of his feelings like this. I can't tell him I'm just exploring and having a bit of fun. It was like a soap opera drama or something. It's like, I'd come home, I'd be out all day shopping. I'd been in about 10 pubs, I'd come home at midnight, out my brains, drunk. And Michael Aldridge would be there with his apron. Like he's being like a housekeeper, housewife. And the guy, you know, loved me, and he said, David, I can't say it without laughing. David, your beans on toast are in the oven and they're burnt. And that's it. And I had to console him in the garden for like an hour, and I thought, what the hell am I getting into? I can't, you know, what am I doing? Isn't that amazing here? If you look across that landscape there, you could almost be on a different planet. What was a really magical thing was me and Ray when we sang together. I got a quite high voice and knows to sing octaves to Ray. Despite, you know, us being different personalities, our different voices complemented each other. One of my favourite Kinks songs was See My Friends.
See my friends, see my friends, playing across the river.
The droney sound that we achieved from a really cheap old guitar that was detuned. And it created this hypnotic drone. And it sounded very Eastern and sitar-like, and can kind of put you into a meditative state.
She is gone, she is gone, and now there's no one there. Said my friend, playing across the river.
See My Friends really set a trend towards Indian music. That a lot of other bands started to buy the actual sitars and tablas and all the real Indian instruments to try and duplicate a sound we got on a cheap detuned guitar. Sound and light is all energy, and the vibrations just vibrate in different frequencies. I've always loved being beside water. Running water is very cleansing to your thoughts and your mind.
What love is all about.
Here with our shindig finale are the fantastic Kinks.
They call me long, tall, shorty. I know what love is all about. Well, I can tell you where the lights go. When they go out.
When we first went to America, the audience were insane, fabulous audiences, but there was an older generation of Americans, it was very low to get out to 50s, that really thought we were a threat or something. Because our music was a lot more aggressive and I like to think more sexual than the Beatles. And we were kind of a bit scruffy, we were a bit wilder, and I had shoulder-length hair. And especially in middle America or the South, and you get those glares from like rednecks, and you a boy or a girl. I'm both actually. And having a name like the Kinks doesn't really help. But I loved it, I thrived on it really, because I was a cheeky kid and it seemed fun that people thought I was pissing them off. One of those shows like Shindig that we did in the States, They were really heady times, and it was very exciting. And I was 15, 16 years old, playing that in front of all these girls, and who knows how many millions of people were watching. And I kind of just used to explode with excitement when I played my guitar.
No, you had Jimi Hendrix at that end, Noel Coward at the other end. There was always me in the middle, rocking it backwards and forwards, you know.
I just thought it was being exciting and being expressive. But I think they thought it was a bit sexual, maybe. Like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have this. And we didn't realise how powerful the unions were. And like, if they didn't like you, that was it. You're out, mate. Being banned from America was a big help to us. We had to readdress the whole situation. This could be a career, and I should start learning how to play the guitar. You know, learn some scales and stuff. Like, it's a real job. There was a big shift in our music, moving away from those aggressive, early riff-driven songs and coming back home to our roots. Max Miller and stuff like that, stuff that our parents listened to.
Friday evenings, people get together, hiding from the weather. Tea and toasted buttered currant buns can't compensate for lack of sun, because the summer's all gone.
My mum and dad used to love to come to our shows, and we'd come off a big tour and go up the pub and my dad and his mates play shove opener. You know, darts and a pint.
Mr. Pleasant, how is Mrs. Pleasant? I hope the world is treating you right, and your head's in the air, and you're feeling so proud, 'cause you're such a success, and the whole wide world is on your side. Hey, hey, how are you today? How's your father? How's your mother? How's your sister? How's your brother? How's your brand new limousine? 24-inch TV screen. Is you like prosperity more than you like poverty? Life is easier now.
A lot of the material was so heavily drawn from our background as kids. A lot of the characters in early Kinks music is based on our own family. Sometimes we'd tease Ray about some of the songs that he wrote. It was really written by my family.
I said goodbye to Rosie Rook this morning. I'm gonna miss her bloodshot alcoholic eyes.
He was writing about what I did a lot of the time, I'm sure of it. Like Dandy. I did the party and Ray wrote about it. He was Oscar and I was Wild. No. Ray would often pick the phone up and say, Dave, I've got an idea, you know, and I'd come around and we'd sit around the piano and he'd play me a cool riff. You could always tell when something was going to really work. It's a collaborative thing. It's like, you know, you trigger each other and, oh yeah, that's really good, yeah, we should do that. And it goes backwards and forwards.
In the summertime.
I wanted to be supportive, like helping each other, helping the family out. And then Ray would come back a day or two later with a complete thing finished.
Everybody's looking for the sun. People strain their eyes to see
song about anything, or I can't. It's got to be an emotion first.
I've been crying all the winter. I've been waiting for some good to come my way, but I'll wait till the summer comes along. Dear Lord, have I done so much wrong?
When you're sitting down making a song, working on it, are you trying to do anything other than enlarge your bank balance?
Oh, definitely, you know.
It's not just strictly a commercial venture.
Actually, if it was, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I thought of it that way, I wouldn't be able to do it.
How do you think of it?
It's funny because you're not going to believe me, but I don't think of it when I do it. You sort of have a few drinks or something, and you sit down, and you think of something that somebody said, or a television program you saw, say somebody in Vietnam getting shot or something, and it sort of forms a pattern in your brain, like a dream, like playing. I suppose you can compare it to dreaming as well. Sort of lots of things compressed, and it explodes.
You don't have to look at me, you don't have to smile at me, you just gotta love me till the sun shines.
I started to find as the years got to about 67, 68, I used to go in the studio and my hand ached for like just drinking, pill popping, and just burning the candle at both ends. One day you wake up and you think, what's the point? What am I doing, you know? And the song Death of a Clown I wrote in that same front room at the house, Denmark Tourist. The vibes in that room always felt happy to me. My sisters got married and they came to the reception in that room, and the family gatherings were happy. It was like a focus of energy. I did put 2 or 3 solo singles out without the Kinks, but I thought, no, we're a family. It's continuous, see where it takes us.
Let's hear it for Mr. Death of a Clown, Dave Davies.
Now, this thing about a rivalry between me and Ray, I didn't know anything about until I was about 18, 19, 20 years old, because it never struck me that there was any rivalry or jealousy or... So it became as a big surprise to me when people started to talk about it. Well, there's 2 mountain goats sparring up there.
So then I looked into her mirror. The sinner looked into the washing machine and the drudgery of being wet. She was so jealous of her sister and her liberty and her smart young friends. She was so jealous of her sister.
I could say that I was a victim of a very abusive relationship. But that's not really what we want to do, is it? No. If we make a list of all the bad things that happen to us and moan about them, it's really unproductive. Even the people we don't like, or at times think we don't like, are there for a reason, for our own personal growth. The blame thing is unhelpful. If there hadn't have been bad times, I might not have got interested in spiritual things. I'm thankful to have Ray as brother, even though he's an arsehole, because it made me look at life differently. So he's my brother, I love him. He does something to me that I don't like. What do I do, hit him over the head? Or shoot him? I think, what's the point of that? I can't change him.
Picture yourself when you're getting on. Sat by the fireside, pondering on. Picture book, pictures of your mama, taken by your papa a long time ago. Picture book of people with each other to prove they love each other a long time ago.
After 3 years, when we could go back to the States again, it was totally different moon. It was like starting all over again. And instead of all the little teeny girls screaming and trying to rip the clothes off, it was just all these really grey-faced, bearded men, not women, but really dour, kind of down-beaten, lying on the floor. Yeah, sure. The bands were heavier and serious and darker. It was a very dark period.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. I'll take you to burn.
Rock and roll had a looming sort of feeling about it. America went into that Vietnam zone, and the mood and life became very, very serious all of a sudden for these young people. Instead of them partying and smoking dope, wearing flowers in their hair, they suddenly realised they were being called up to kill people and get killed. It was hard because the support structure started to collapse with our management leaving. People leaving. It's kind of like in like no man's land. We were so out of fashion and out of touch with what people were going through. Now, fortunately, there was like a cult thing about the Kinks. And it was weird that the Americans seemed to pick up on that, where the English didn't. The only time I spoke with Jimi Hendrix was sat next to each other on a plane going to Sweden for some TV thing. We didn't talk a lot, but he said that he thought that he really got me. The guitar sound was a landmark guitar sound. And I always thought that coming from him, that was, quite a compliment. Mitch Mitchell, Jimmy's drummer, lived for a while in my house that I rented in Muswell Hill. We went away on tour and he used to kick pigeons under the bed. Weird. When we got back, threw him out. On the back of a so-called flop, which I always regard as one of our best albums, Arthur, we started to build up again. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think it's done yet because people want this. And if people want us, then we must be doing something right.
Or sit by the fire in your Shangri-La.
And I knew that Ray was going through an immensely creative as well as a destructive period. So I thought, we just got to ride it out. I had a really, really bad time, 73. It was obviously the drugs and stuff as well, but it's also a lifestyle. You'd think, what the hell am I doing, flying on a plane across the other side of the world, horrible and feel tired. Am I supposed to be a rock star? Is that what I'm supposed to do? We were playing a beer festival. It was a beer-sponsored thing in New York, and I felt I was in a bad way. I could play, you know, I could get by and go back to the hotel room, and then it'd start. You hear voices. And I'm thinking, this is what mad people do. I had stories about us seeing this woman walking down the street, talking to these imaginary people. And I think, hey, fucking hey. I haven't really spoken in depth about it to many people because it's being in the land of the insane. It's not a very nice place. I was sitting in a hotel room, a Holiday Inn on 8th Avenue, looking out and hearing these voices saying, jump out the window. It's like me saying to you, Julian, come on, jump, can't jump. And like, there's nobody there, okay? My senses are all kind of all over the place. I'm trying to function and get up and sleep and trying to get up and tune my guitar, and I suddenly realised, please, let's go back to England, let's get back home so I can try and see what the fuck's going on here. And it was awful. And I called it a psychic death. I felt that there must be ways to combat this. Ray did, trapped in his own hell, his own world, and I was trapped in mine. And we were brothers, living only a few miles apart, and we couldn't connect in that way. I decided the only way that I was going to get out of this hell, my own little private hell, was to work on it myself. The mind's so easily persuaded in so many different directions. Use the imagination to make it work for us, against us. It's restructuring your thought process, reprogramming. When you feel like, oh, I can't get up, I can't get out of bed, I'm too depressed, what am I going to do? Then it just drags you down and down and down and down into an abyss that some people can't get out of. And there's the ruins of an old monastery. I don't know if I can get up there, but it's quite an exceptional place. I got interested in spiritualism. I knew a bit about astrology and a bit about yoga, and I thought, I'll get into regime yoga, do yoga every day and do some meditation. The yogis talk about working on energy of the mind and knock it into shape, for Christ's sake. I became more introvert from being like out there. I was more like this. Sensitivity has a price, and I think all that money does, it creates a moat around your life. You might be sensitive, but you're protected from experience. Although we were written off at this point, the Kinks did succeed in coming back to conquer America again. There's no such thing as failing at anything. You don't fail, you have an experience. It's a means to progress further. I think Kinks music is music of hope and humour and a reality. People do fuck up, they do mess up, they trip up. Martin, my eldest son, and I decided it'd be cool if we made a film about my mystical journey. Introduction to so many aspects of magic, the Golden Dawn, occultism, spiritualism, and all the allied areas that you can investigate. It's been a main thread throughout my life and career through the Kinks anyway. It's not like something I just woke up one day and thought, oh, that's interesting. It's trying to understand the mystical elements in our lives that are very real. Did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountain green? Sorry. It's better for us to control our own minds than someone else do it for us, like some organised religion might do. The main battle we all have is the battle inside with ourselves. I think in the 70s, when I went through that bad time, I think, when I went sort of within, wondering even if I could play anymore, it kind of motivated me to think, maybe I could use this energy as some sort of healer. When you're playing music on a big stage with thousands and thousands of people, there's a hell of a lot of energy flowing around that auditorium that most people don't even know about. That's what entertainment is. It's about bringing people up and out of their isolation, that they can join the party. The Assure project is something I put together with my son Russell. He's a very accomplished musician in his own right. He sent me some ideas on MP3s. I went for a drive over Exmoor and walked across the sea and I listened to this music and I thought, I can see the story emerging. It's a love story between a man and a woman that are separated by time and space. And the night skies in Exmoor with the stars inspired the thought of separation, the girls one side of the universe and the guys stuck on Earth. And they devised a mystical way to get back together. So if it gets a bit too way out, it's still just about love and lovers. It's also the underlying thread in the album is the love between the father and son, like working together. When you're actually immersed in a creative thing with your own son, it's like joy. All these ideas I get, if I can get them from here or here into a bit of music and put some words with it, that's me functioning at my best. Ray and I have talked about doing new Kinks recordings, but it doesn't feel right to me. It's like trying to repaint a Rembrandt or something. Those wonderful pieces of music weren't done like that. They sort of appeared raised through Ray's consciousness and my energy and the other people that are around us. It's the imperfections that help develop as a spiritual being. It's getting back to that thing I was talking about earlier, about finding those moments of clarity or moments of oneness. Might be a second, split second.
What do the sunsets find? What do the sunsets find?
So many times me and Ray have been on stage and something will happen, we'll look at each other and we know the whole atmosphere has changed. In a way, Ray and I were magicians without realising it, purely because of that love bond. So we're playing something together, it automatically had that love vibration in it. But maybe it's good that you get two people that think totally different. Because there's something opposite in front of us, it helps us try and figure out how we fit into the whole thing.
I once read somewhere that Ray said if he had to do it all over again, he'd change every single thing.
That's so amazingly funny or curious, because I wouldn't change any of it. Where you going to, I don't mind. I've killed my world and I've killed my time. So where do I go? What will I see? I see many people coming after me. So where you going to? I don't mind. And if I live too long, I'm afraid I'll die. To peace we find, tell you what I'll do. Everything I own, I will share with you. Strangers on this road we are on. We are not two, we are one. Strangers on this road we are on. We are not two, we are one. I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else.